Greetings.
You're a bold one to approach so fearlessly. Give me a good reason to speak with you. I'll make it seem like you're here at my request. Otherwise, my subjects will think you cut the line and start sizing you up for dinner. How thoughtful! I could hardly turn down such a generous gift, especially with the trouble brewing in Eldenroot. How are you at building embassies? You see, Queen Irene promised one would be built for the Khajiit as a gesture of goodwill. But now a year has passed and there's still no Khajiit embassy. This has led to no end of headaches. Good question. You wish to serve the Camoran throne? You can start by asking Prince Naaman why his people aren't fulfilling their promises. He's the one who seems to have the entire Elden Tree lodged up his flue. I can say that. I'm the king. The line never ends.
Yes? Quickly now. Don't leave your mouth to hang agape. That again? My sister, Queen Irene, foolishly committed to build the Khajiit an embassy months ago. Everything was to be handled through Ambassador Tarinwe at the Ultima Embassy. No, you don't get to question me, not after you slew High Kin Lady Estri. Do you think I'm one to have a chat with the person who killed my wife? That we'll break out the Sylphmead and share a good laugh? I suppose that's my burden. Very well, I won't give you the satisfaction of doubting my loyalty. You were asking after the Khajiit? Ask a stonemason. I have to prepare for the ratification ceremony before Queen Irene's arrival. I can't be troubled with such minor issues. If you care to pursue the matter, speak with Ambassador Tarinwe at the Ultima Embassy. To promote harmony, she'd tell you. The same reason she picked this bizarre tree city as the Dominion's capital. She wants every member of the Dominion to feel as though they're equal. Oh, we need to be unified against our enemies, and having a high elf in charge is paramount to our success. But do we really need all this coddling? The ratification ceremony, the business with the embassy, more problems due to harmony. An archaic wood elf ritual. If she dances to their tune, Queen Irene will be recognized by the heavens as a worthy candidate for Emperor of Tamriel. Rubbish, if you ask me.
Ah, our magnanimous prince. Such a kind and noble ruler, don't you agree?
Did you know your entire future is mapped out in the stars? One must only know how to read them. Not such an enviable skill, though. A mystery that kills the mystery, if you catch my meaning.
I have nothing to say to you.
You're not one for waiting in lines, are you? You're confident, I'll give you that. Strode right up to the king. Azerith, Vine Dusk Ranger. You could say we keep King Camoran Eredon in touch with his people. Watch yourself. The boughs of the Elden Tree are bright and beautiful, but they cast long shadows. A year ago, the king nearly lost Eldenroot to a civil war. People have long memories. But that's old news. Just keep your wits about you and you'll be fine.
What are you afraid of? Words? This one brought his family all the way to Grahtwood, expecting a place in our own embassy. Instead, we sit in leaky tents, waiting for promises to be fulfilled. Come out! Come out and talk to us.
I have no idea where the funds for these projects are going to come from, but it's my responsibility to find that funding. Perhaps I should reopen my family's salt mine.
I suppose a wanderer like you wouldn't know what busy looks like. I will demonstrate. Feel free to observe, quietly and from a distance. Oh, forgive my manners. There's so much to do in preparing for Queen Irene's ratification ceremony. Tempers fray, as I'm sure you can understand. But if Prince Naaman sent you, it must be important. What can I do for you? Why would Prince Naaman care about that? If they are too lazy to build their own embassy, can't they afford an inn? Well, of course, I ordered it done. I hired some wood elves to excavate the stone and set aside supplies for Khajiit to use. It isn't my fault if the locals couldn't do their jobs. Check our storeroom. The Khajiit didn't even bother to pick up the supplies. In the meantime, I'm off to locate Prince Naaman. If he didn't send you here with his blessing, I'll see you face Dominion justice.
I always admired Sirabane. Someday, I hope to be so well known in Aldmeri culture as that particular hero sorceress. It shall not, I expect, be through my diligent bookkeeping and efficient management skills that I become so well known.
The most painful thing about this scenario is the awareness they must lack of what we have already achieved for Grahtwood. We do not inform them because their lives are easier for not knowing, and this is the thanks we get.
Ridiculous, that. The gathering, I mean. Do they not realize that we are endeavoring to satisfy them? Their conflicting demands and ridiculous expectations of time. Time marches only as it will. Such is its mandate.
I ensure the reception and distribution of all Thalmor requisitioned goods here in Eldenroot. If you don't mind, I must be about the day's inspections.
Do please leave me my space. I am researching the vagaries of culture in Valenwood, to best avoid committing any social blunders as we work in the region. Evidently, before we arrived, the Bosmer would non-violently raid fellow villages. Bizarre.
Whatever you intend to do while here, please refrain from interfering with my model. It has taken me ages to coerce him into catching the light as he has. Any interruption and he might throw a tantrum and storm off.
Excuse me. You are in my light. We are establishing a scene here. You are interfering in art. Please leave.
Do try to avoid any undue noise. I am studying the cultures of Valenwood to best ease our work in the region. Obviously, the Bosmer are primarily carnivores. This extends to their liquors, the majority of which are comprised of meat and mold. Odd. Part of our difficulties in dealing with the Bosmer as allies is their difficulty in understanding the concept of money. It simply does not matter much to them. Evidently, carrying practical things, such as food or arrows, is more important to them. Bosma considered drinking heavily to be a sacrament. I'm sure you can see how this complicates our negotiations. It is difficult to establish even conversational ground when the other party is on their fourth pitcher of Jaga, milk liquor.
I am doing my very best to reconcile the diverse culinary preferences of the Dominion. The Khajiit prefer their food with moon sugar, which doesn't respond well to the aging in wood elf meats. High elves, of course, prefer neither. Impossible.
I'm not entirely sure what's going on outside. I doubt it really matters in the grand scope of things. Peasants being peasants, I assume. Well?
Do what you promised! It is no use. The High Elves care nothing about their promises to the Khajiit. Nothing will change, no matter how much we shout.
That's far enough. The storeroom is off limits. Ambassador Tarinway's orders. She did? That's different then. Show me her orders and I'll stand aside. Then I can't let you inside. Her instructions were very specific. No one gets in without her written permission. I'm to remain at my post until relieved. Except in an emergency, of course. The Khajiit could riot. That would be bad. Very bad. Or a fire, of course. But the chances of that happening are slim. I'm here on the ambassador's orders. I can't leave my post unless there's an emergency.
What am I going to do? Have to clear all this rubbish before the end of my shift. Ambassador's orders, they said. Do you think so? I wouldn't want to burn down the embassy. You're right. And I can stay here to make sure it doesn't get out of hand. Thanks for the suggestion.
Smoke? What's going on? What are you doing?
What does it look like? I'm clearing away some rubbish.
By burning down the embassy?
I'm watching the fire. I won't let it get out of control.
Unless you want the ambassador to hear about this, you'll put it out at once.
Where is the guard? And what are you doing here? I'd expected you would solve problems at the embassy, not cause them. Do you realize what's happening out here? Oh, never mind. Explain what you were doing in that storeroom. Why would she do that? Oh, never mind. Well, what did you find? Typical bureaucratic corruption. I expected better of the ambassador. No matter. Supplies can be replaced. What about the Khajiit embassy? Did she say why construction hasn't begun? What do you mean, collect stone? That should have happened months ago. They should be ready to build it. I'll talk to the ambassador myself. Put the fear of the Dominion into her. I'm surprised we didn't pass each other on the road. Get to those ruins and find that work crew. I want to know why they hadn't done their jobs. I won't have Queen Irene's word impugned by someone else's incompetence.
You there, we need to talk. Saw you standing over the body of a dead wood elf. Nearly put an arrow in your throat. Good thing I recognize you. King Camoran Eredon had his suspicions about the embassy. Asked me to look into the matter, quietly. We both have a stake in this. We should work together, see where it leads. I know enough. Khajiit owed an embassy. They're angry the High Elves are dragging their feet to build it. Seemed like politics until a dozen stonemasons vanished without a trace. The king sent me to find out why. Before the Dominion, King Camoran Eredon nearly lost a civil war. I came to see if the missing stonemasons were targeted by the Blacksap Rebellion. But Blacksap would have displayed the bodies, not left them as food for Horvor. The king suspects Ambassador Tarinwe has been up to no good. Little things, some of her associations. But he can't accuse his allies of undermining the whole alliance. So he sent me to deal with it. Ambassador Tarinwe used criminals to smuggle supplies. Never directly, but enough for us to notice. I'm not saying she had these stonemasons killed, but I'd like to ask her myself. Problem is, there's nothing we can do while she's in the Aldmeri embassy. If she left the embassy, she knows someone's onto her. She'll go to ground, try to flee. Have someone smuggle her out of Grahtwood. We should probably stop her. Meet me by the Middens, at the base of the Elden Tree. I'll be there shortly. They call this place the Middens because it's where all the refuse ends up. We clear them out now and again, but they always come back. Necessary evil, I'm told. Spoke with someone I trust. She's definitely here. We should get moving. We're not far behind her. Capture her, bring her in for questioning. Find proof she's behind this so Prince Naaman doesn't explode with outrage. Never thought I'd hunt a High Elf ambassador. Smugglers, skooma addicts, and more than a few criminals. They keep to themselves, but sometimes they band together to repel outsiders. Kind of like a filthier version of the Dominion. Our goal is to find Ambassador Tarinwe before she buys passage out of Grahtwood. Staying in the shadows, avoiding unnecessary conflict, that's what I'd do. But there's a lot of ground to search. I'll follow your lead.
What, are you going to hit me too? You're just like the rest of them, aren't you? Everyone that comes through here, they all hit me. Everyone spits on me and takes my things. Those are my things. Mine. You can't have them. I've been to Oblivion and back all to get these things which are mine, so just back off. The past 500,000 years, they've been really hard on me. You have no idea. It's like swimming upstream in a waterfall. I don't know who or where I am anymore.
I wish I could fight. If I could, I'd clear the trash out of the Middens. All the trash that people let pile up in here. You know the type. Trash that fights back.
I wasn't always a beggar. I may be blind, but I can still sense what occurs around me. And if you touch my candle, Ariel grant me the ability to stay my destructive hands. I am creating for myself a holy place. A site where, in time, the divines might restore my sight. It's my sight. Don't laugh. Everyone does.
A few coins would suffice. Of course nobody down here recognizes me. It's been so long since they've been to Somerset, I expect they wouldn't. When Finaster finally comes to take me home, they'll see. They'll all see. And none of them will come with me. I wonder sometimes if I'm really here. Not here as in the physical location. The question is more, do I really exist? Do you? Does anyone?
This is our food,
The
friend.
smell down here. It is so rancid. Sanobani does not know how much longer she can bear it. It is so hard to keep one's fur clean in these conditions, but this one has no place else to go.
Do you not see the truth of things? The creatures that have invaded this place, they're as warped by oblivion as I am, as you are. Flown too close to Aetherius, our wings burned off, crystallized, fell away. This, all that's left of my research. I had it all when I came down here, but most of it's been burned. No matter. I'll be on top again. I'll set back into my position, and everything will be set right.
See the world, he said. What a joke.
Help someone in need.
Is that you? No, you're not my son. If you see him, tell him to come visit me. And to bring my rug. I'm looking for my rug. I sent it to my son some time ago, and then I came to be here. I can't leave, but my rug can come to me.
The itching, it just won't stop.
Life is no better than this. The wind.
Your words are wise, Lakura. Now, come. Sit by me and enjoy what we have to offer.
Ah, you tempt me. But this one's husband is
But
waiting.
you have no husband here, my lord. My friends and I will see you forget your troubles.
Panazir worries much about his new Letty. She sleeps so much these days. Is she sick, this one wonders? Or is it the sleep of sorrow? For we have nothing left but that. This one studied fighting in a temple of the Two Moons dance. But this does not mean Panazir is able to use that to bring us back to our feet. Fighting alone is not enough, yes?
I'll never feel right again.
Prince Naaman sent someone to the embassy. We have to leave before we're discovered.
Prince Naaman? We had assurances. How can we make him our puppet if we can't control him? It's too late!
On your feet! You're coming with me!
Why? Where are you taking me?
To King Camoran Eredon, where you'll answer for crimes against the Dominion.
He'll have me killed and served for dinner.
Only if you're proven guilty. And if you are, none of us could stomach you. Now get moving! Good working with you. I'll take her from here. You should inform the king of the good news.
You've returned. What have you learned of the Khajiit embassy? Oh, good. Nothing I enjoy more than talk of conspiracy. Did the ambassador have a manifesto? They usually have manifestos. No matter. I trust you resolved it. Splendid. I'll allow you the honor of informing Prince Naaman. Why not tell him the duly selected High Elf ambassador was working against the very Dominion she pledged to support? I'll sit in my throne and try not to gloat.
I heard what you said to the king. Ambassador Tarinwe, a traitor, my wife's killer, a loyal servant, and I, Queen Iren's representative in Eldenroot, required to thank you for your efforts. Very well. I'll provide no reason to question my duty to the Dominion. We'll interrogate Ambassador Tarinwe until we know the extent of her treason. Then she'll die, as all traitors must. But no matter. Your efficiency in resolving this matter was commendable, and the Dominion rewards its servants. Ambassador Tarinwe's betrayal could not have been more absolute. She knew the details of the ratification ceremony, which puts Queen Iren at risk. It's my sister's own fault. She thought to appease the Sylvanar and the Main by agreeing to this foolish process. The ratification ceremony ends with the orary, an ancient device beneath Eldenroot. It will divine Queen Iren's capacity to become Empress, or some such. But Ambassador Tarinwe assisted in the preparations. I must assume she tried to sabotage the proceedings. Doing so would make Queen Iren look weak. No, we must proceed. You've proven your competence, so I'll ask you to speak with Melaras. He's an expert on the orary and knows what must be done. Quite pleasant once you grow accustomed to the smell. The preparations for this ratification ceremony seem endless, but I'm up to the task. She asked how she could prove herself their rightful leader. The Sylvanar suggested the orary nonsense, and the Main agreed. Of course, neither will be present to see it, yet my sister is held to her pledge. How unexpected. Khajiiti political excuses are impossible to discern. I know the Main will not be present, and that's all I care to know. As for the Sylvanar, he died on Kenathi's roost. Thought he could negotiate with the filthy sea elves. King Camoran Eredon. It's beneath his city, so there's no turning him away. And myself, of course.
Please don't mind Prince Naaman. Ambassador Tarinwe's betrayal is a shock to us all. But no matter, the orary must work flawlessly for the Queen. That's what we will ensure. Enough to be of service. The orary hasn't functioned as intended for ages. We planned to use some rather delicate magic to trick it into operation. But if Prince Naaman believes there was sabotage, we must look to an alternative method. Why, we'll look to the past! According to legend, the orary required a skilled operator, an alien source of power, and a divine spark before it would function. Without all three, it won't do anything but spin. Quite pretty, but not very useful. Conservator Darineth maintains the orary and has studied the alien monitoring rituals. Unfortunately, she was called away to South Point for a personal matter. If you can locate her and convince her to return, we'll have our operator. I've researched this a bit. Really, you need to be in 3 places at once. Simple, right? But the Fallen Esti winter site is rumored to hold a relic of the Khajiiti thief god. For our purposes, Radchin's mantle will serve as the divine spark, if it's truly there, of course. The heart of a numeral originally brought life to the orary, according to the texts. It long ago went missing, but a member of the local mages guild named Laranalda theorizes it's in a local Ayleid ruin. She's currently at the Reliquary of Stars, seeking the heart of a numeral. Wonderful! Have anything you find sent directly to the orrery. Once everything is in place, we can begin the ratification ceremony. And do refrain from referring to Conservator Darineth as a missing element.
The preparations for this ratification ceremony seem endless, but I'm up to the task.
I don't trust this Melleris one bit. He's an obsequious lick-spittle, if you ask me.
I brought Ambassador Tarinway into custody. Of course, we can't question her without special permission from the Thalmor Inner Council. Politics.
I'm glad this Ambassador Tarinway business is settled. Between the two of us, I'm tired of all this talk of embassies.